InRavio provides the best in TV, film, post-production, and so much more. And we're growing. Right now, we're looking for a team of pros that can join us. So what are you waiting for? We need show hosts, production crew, marketing gurus, sales experts, audio engineers, lighting, visual effects, and camera crews. We want you. Go to InRavio.com/join the team. InRavio.com.
I'm ready. Hello again, everybody. This is Joe Larson, and you're watching the 505 on Racing Show. Welcome. Welcome to another fun evening of race talk. Looking forward tonight. A lot to go over. A lot of stuff to go over. Some stuff at Charlotte, what's going on in the modified tour, some rules packages, things of that nature. And as we're coming to at least the weekly series with the their season's coming to an end. And we're preparing for 2015. I'd like to discuss sponsorship stuff. There was an interesting article that I want to talk about a little while that Ernie Saxton had in Area Auto Race News, and how not to come to a sponsorship meeting. And it's one of the things that I've been saying ever since I've been talking about sponsorships on this show way back almost 200 shows ago, and well, maybe 175, but we'll be at 200 shows in March, God willing. And we're looking forward to that. But anyway, some good stuff happening. One of the good things, we hear a lot of stuff about racetracks closing. Well, it looks like Mansfield Motorsports Park in Mansfield, Ohio, closed since 2008, may reopen. The new property owner, Grant Millerin, bought the speedway and its 177 acres for $800,000 back a couple of years back. And originally, he had said that he was not going to keep it a racetrack. The place has sat dormant for all this time. And I'll tell you what, I went to this facility for a Whelen Modified Tour as an official, and the place was gorgeous. It was in the middle of nowhere. And when I say in the middle of nowhere, the only thing that was nearby was a penitentiary. And I can remember seeing the lights on this penitentiary. I'm like, wow, this is some facility. That wasn't the facility. We drove past that to get into the racetrack. But it was a beautiful facility, and it's a shame that it had got shut down. The track previously hosted NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series races, the ARCA events there, the Whelen Modified Tour there, just to name a few, some super modifieds. And it just, for whatever reason, could not sustain itself at the time. But they're talking to investors, they're talking to race people about getting this. In fact, there's an experienced race promoter involved now, and looking to make this back into a racetrack. So that'll be really excellent. Like I said, you hear so much about racetracks closing that it's good to hear one opening. And Kevin Basic, Long Island Need for Speed. Yeah, I heard that too, that this Waterford, Speedbowl, Waterford, Connecticut, may close. But it's one of those things, it's been rumored every year. The Waterford Speed Bowl closing rumor is similar to, some of the local racetracks that you hear about that they're sold. And the opening season comes the following year, and it's the same management and ownership. But, Waterford Speed Bowl, there's some issues up in there, and I'm not going to get into them here because I don't have all the facts. But I know the racetrack was in trouble a couple of years ago. They had to sell off some land to pay taxes and things of that nature. So it should be, it should be one of those things that come out. And myracenews.com, it was posted here in the chat room that the foreclosure sale of the property was posted. Now, you could pick up this place for not a lot of money. But I'm thinking that the people that are involved with the place now, Terry Ames and his group, and whoever is backing him as well, I think they're gonna make it happen and keep it up and running. So again, it's another nice facility. Went on some good races there, and I'll tell you what. The last time I went to the Waterford Speed Bowl and actually sat and watched some races, I was very impressed about the quality of racing with all the divisions and how there was none of this beating and banging and taking people out and all that kind of stuff. And one of my pet peeves is a car will spin, obviously could go, and they go. And I used to tell drivers, you're going to lose the lap anyway, so you might as well just go. Because I'll make sure, if you're going to sit there, I'll make sure that the whole nother lap, as long as you're in a safe spot, I would make sure that you're good to go and not in a dangerous spot. You're going to lose the lap anyway, so might as well just go and instead of causing a caution, because there is a penalty for intentionally causing a caution, which isn't normally called at all the racetracks that I've been to. But many of the racetracks, if you intentionally bring a caution out, whether it's in the Top Series, the Cup, Nationwide, or the Camping World Truck Series, you intentionally bring out a caution, you will be penalized, and rightfully so. So that's what's going on there. So I hope that Waterford Speedway can regroup and open up in 2015 because they have a good package there and a good program. Anyway, Bob Dillner, Long Island native, it was reported that his contract with Fox Sports will not be renewed in 2015. His contract ends at the end of the racing season this year, and they're not bringing him back. Nothing against Bob Dillner. I think he does a fantastic job. He's knowledgeable. He's been doing this, I believe, for 17 years or so, starting as a reporter for Area Auto Racing News, and then moving up to starting his own show with his brothers and the help of the Long Island News 12, Long Island Trackside, which was, I'll tell you what, you looked forward to watching Long Island Trackside on a Saturday morning before you went to the local racetrack. And there was some good coverage, there was some good stories, and it was professionally run, and I hope he lands on his feet. I know a guy with his talents will. But you know what's happening with these pit reporters and announcers? They're going for young and pretty. That leaves us out. Young and pretty. You look at some of the people that they have in the pits now, the pit reporters. They're going for sex appeal because we all know that's what people like to look at. Bob Dillner was a good guy. I was on his show a couple of times, Long Island Trackside, and I can remember doing a show called Figure Eight Sundays. They did a little thing, and they talked to a bunch of us figure eight drivers back then. I believe it was 1995, almost 20 years ago, when the figure eights were going to be moved to Sundays for a handful of shows, and there was a lot of guys that just didn't sit well with. And I can remember being interviewed and discussing it myself. And it just wasn't fair for us, and in my opinion, looking back then, fair for us as drivers, as competitors, to be moved mid-season to do some Sunday shows when we sold our sponsorship packages, some of us, for Saturday night racing. And now you have a sponsor who's going to show up on a Saturday night. And you're not going to be there because you race on Sundays. And as the late Kenny Hyde said in that interview that day, and I'll never forget it, he said, they had us running with the Enduros and the rollover contest. And Kenny Hyde said, people are going to come out and watch the figure eight race and see the Enduros. And as Kenny put in that quote, he goes, that's not what racing's all about. Although Enduros were fun at the time for those guys to do it, I'm sure it's still fun. But, you had 100 cars on the track, 100 laps for an hour, and it was more like an organized demolition derby back in the day when they had 110 cars or 100 cars on the racetrack, and they did like 3 or 4 of them. Now the enduro counts at a lot of the local racetracks are down because you can't get those big cars anymore because they're worth more in scrap. So it was a whole different mindset back in that day. But anyway. And, WJ, my racer, is saying, hey, Fox, keep Dillner, get rid of the Waltrips. I'll tell you, I don't know when the Waltrips contract expires, but I am sure when that time comes, things are going to be a little bit different. Nothing against the Waltrips. I don't particularly like at least DW's way of announcing, but I'm sure he doesn't like what I do either, so it really doesn't matter. But I think Michael has a lot to offer. I think Michael is more of a grassroots guy, and just my opinion. And speaking of Michael Waltrip, well, he is advanced, has continued to advance in Dancing with the Stars. A lot of people didn't think he was going to make it. Michael Waltrip, he survives going into the 5th week of Dancing with the Stars, and he will get paired up with a new partner as voted in by the fans who call in and vote on these things. Waltrip will dance with Whitney Carson, a professional dancer who has done some TV work as well. And it'd be interesting to see how he goes with that. So I'm going to admit this, I sometimes try to catch that and see how he does. And I think last week he did, in his dance, or the week before, he did a tribute to Dale Earnhardt, the late Dale Earnhardt. And I think it was very fitting and very, very good. So Dancing with the Stars. And I'll tell you what, it's not easy to do that dancing stuff. And you got to be in really good shape. And it's just, I always said that there should be some race car drivers. There should be a Cup guy or a truck guy or a Nationwide guy, a known guy in racing that goes and does that. So if you get a chance to watch it, check it out. I mean, I know it sounds silly, but let's check it out. Anyway, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about what's going on in the world of NASCAR.
Hey, this is Chris Less Jake, and if InRavio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Transmission of lice occurs from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like catching a cold or a flu.
You have guaranteed peace of mind in every bottle of Got Lice because all of our products are completely natural
and organic,
but strong enough to cover all your lice removal needs while being safe and effective. Our professional technicians are specially trained with our exclusive proven technique to successfully comb out head lice. We come right to your home at your convenience.
Whenever you want us.
We bring everything needed to perform a successful and complete comb out while eliminating your head lice. And we leave you with our exclusive complimentary products to use for the next 10 days following our treatment.
For free.
Our technicians also check all family members who have been exposed to lice. Please visit us on our website today at gotlice.co or feel free to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 646-257-0121.
InRavio.com wants you. InRavio provides the best in TV, film, post-production, and so much more. And we're growing. Right now, we're looking for a team of pros that can join us. So what are you waiting for? We need show hosts, production crew, marketing gurus, sales experts, audio engineers, lighting, visual effects, and camera crews. We want you. Go to InRavio.com/join the team. For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. InRavio.com.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Yeah, it's that time of year where I spend some time on my show talking about preparing for the following season, in this case 2015. We all know auto racing is a very expensive sport, business, hobby, however you look at it. Whether you're in it for the business end, whether you're in it because you need to do something on a Saturday night, or it's a sport you like to do. No matter how you look at it, it costs a lot of money. And to do it properly, you got to have the right money, you have to have the right equipment, and you have to approach it in such a way that you got to look back and say, listen, if I'm in this sport to make money, I'm in the wrong business. But however, nobody goes into business to lose money. And again, if you're going into this thing as a sport, hey, it's like the golfer, the fisherman, the tennis player, whatever you do, it costs money to do that, to do your sport. Whether you play flag football on the weekends, or you're in a men's softball league, or in a bowling league, or a women's league, whatever it may be. If you're just in it for the sport of it, all right, you're in this sport. You shouldn't rely on other people to pay for your sporting events. If you approach your racing as a business, you're not theoretically going to people to ask them to pay for your business. And what you're looking to do is find a business or a sponsor or a company that could help you in your endeavors, but at the same time, you need to help them. It was one of the things that I was taught at UPS when I was a sales manager. And what it was don't make a promise that you can't keep. I couldn't go into my customers and say, you're going to take this, I'm going to take this package from you, and my driver's going to pick it up, and we're going to put it through our system, and that package is going to be in California tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. Can't make that promise. Now, there's services that they could have used to make it there in that time, and I would have to tell them that. I would give them the options. See, there was always options and consequences. Yeah, you could have it there in California by 8 o'clock in the morning, but it's going to cost you XYZ dollars. I can, the other thing we can never tell them is, we could give them a window of when their pickup time was going to be. But if that customer or that potential customer came to me and said, Joe, I close at 5:30 and I want that driver in my door at 5:15. I can't say, not a problem. I can give them a window. And don't make a promise you can't keep. And that's sometimes what happens when race teams go in and the potential sponsors. And I'll tell you what, I know I probably talked about this, and I'm going to talk about it again. A race team gave me a proposal. They wanted me to help them find sponsorship, because that's what I do, amongst other things. And The proposal started off, it said, hi, my name is, insert your name, and my name is so-and-so, and I race at, whatever, Peconic Bay Speedway, and I need $10,000. And what I would do with this $10,000 is I'd be able to buy food and beer for my crew who volunteers their time. And I kid you not, I wish I still had it. I could buy food and beer for my crew who don't waste their time, because I like to take care of my crew for helping me. And I want to win races, and I can't win races unless you give me money. And any part of that $10,000 would greatly be appreciated. And I'm like looking at this thing. And the guy sitting across, he's all proud of this thing, because he all did it. And I'm sure he had help from his mother or his wife or his sister or a guy next door or whatever. And the same guy goes on to say, and if you do this for me, I could do this. And if you could do this for me, I could win. If you could do this for me, I could have a pretty car. And if you could do this for me, I could buy a new motor. And if you could do this for me, I could buy 4 tires every week. Not anywhere in this proposal did it say what the race team, was going to do for this potential sponsor. That's what they want to see. It's called ROI, return on investment. Hey, listen, I'm going to sponsor this guy. What am I going to get out of it? What am I going to get out of this as a sponsor? Am I just going to be, just throwing away money? An old friend of mine, it's in the SAFE organization, the Suffolk Association Figure 8 Racing, said to me one time, yeah, but it's a tax write-off. They should do this. It's a tax write-off. Big business doesn't look at it that way. Especially in today's economic times, they're not looking for tax write-offs. They're looking for return on investment. They're looking for revenue. They're looking for more sales. They're looking for more people to come into their place. The more people that go into a business, the more chance you're going to have of them to grow their business. That's what you have to do. That's what they're looking for. Ernie Saxon, and he has a column in Area Auto Racing News, and he does these motorsports marketing seminars and talks and helps people get sponsors and all that kind of good stuff. And he puts in how there he was down in Daytona. He's going to meet with a potential race team that his company's going to get involved with. And the guy shows up in, I guess it was his favorite, as he puts it, race team T-shirt, a pair of cut-off shorts and flip-flops, and he hadn't shaved in about a week. So as they're sitting down, Ernie Saxon says to the guy, is this the type of attire that you should wear to come see a potential sponsor? And the guy goes, I'm on vacation. This is how I dress. And I think that kind of turned them off. As Ernie put it, the only good thing is that he had a nice lunch at a restaurant overlooking the beach in Daytona. Obviously, he didn't sponsor this guy. But a return on investment is the measurement of the economic return from the sponsorship investment. Right? And I quote Ernie Saxon, if it is a local business, they will want to know how much customer traffic did the sponsorship drive through their doors, and that is where the activation of the sponsorship comes into being. You have to bring something to the attention of that potential sponsor. Sponsorships, it's funny. I always, in my racing endeavors, always found a food sponsor. People like, oh, that doesn't help you buy stuff for the car. Well, think about this. I have 4 or 5 guys on my crew, and I go to a local, sandwich shop, delicatessen, supermarket, whatever, and if I can get them to give me a 6-foot Hero, a couple of pounds of salad, some ice, and some to drink, maybe some chips and stuff, that's because you have to eat when you go to the racetrack. You have to eat. The team has to eat. So what are you going to buy? Concession track food, whatever. But if that's money you don't have to spend on buying food, that's money that could be used towards something else. Same thing with a hotel sponsorship. You say, I'm going to whatever racetrack in whatever city, state, and a local hotel is going to give you the room for the night. People say, oh, that doesn't help you buy stuff. Well, yeah, it does, because if the room's $100 a night, you're there 2 nights, that's $200. Why pay the entry fee? Follow where I'm going with this? Sponsorship. And I'll give away all my trade secrets. I don't have a problem doing that. It's one of those things that when you sit down with a potential sponsor, and I'll tell you a story, and I might have said this once before. I went to a sponsor one time who really felt that there was no way that his business was going to grow by sponsoring or putting his logo on my race car. At every angle I used, I tried to spin this guy every which way, and he just wasn't budging. So I had to roll the dice. I said to this individual, I will put your logo on the back panel of my race car for free for this season. Give me nothing, zero, nada. Just give me the artwork. I'll pay for the logo even. So I went to the local decal guy in town, and he made a nice logo. And it cost me about $75, but it didn't matter. So I was going to prove to this guy. And this is what we came up with. Because he really saw there was going to be no return on investment. So he wasn't doing this. So I made a deal with him. I said, I'll tell you what, I will put you on my race cars, like I said, for free. And when the season's over, we'll sit down and talk. Now, it was a medical office, a full-service medical office, chiropractic, physical therapy, and orthopedic, acupuncture, you name it, he did it there. We agreed on a number. We threw the number. We kind of bounced the number back and forth. We were having something to eat and talking about it. I said, give me 2%. Because how am I going to measure that? Knowing that when you go there for the first time and you fill out this whole big thing with all your history and your name and your address, your health insurance, your next of kin, the whole bit, I knew on the bottom of this form, a new patient form, it said, how did you hear from us? And it said, radio, because he had a radio ad. Radio, newspaper, word of mouth, and if a word of mouth, you had to put who, because you got like a little referral gift. And then it said other. I said, if the people check other racetrack, you can measure it that way, can't you? He goes, oh yeah, we'll do that. So I go through a whole season. Average finish 12th. My average finish was 12th out of 20. Some race I didn't even finish. Some I didn't even start. But when you added it all up, my average finish was 12th. Maybe it was 14th. I think it was 14th, more like 14th. Here we go. Now the season ends. We go out to go to a nice restaurant. And I think I've shared this with you before. I'm going to share it again because it's important. And we're sitting there and we're talking. We're just talking. Not even talking racing, just talking. All of a sudden, dessert comes. We're eating dessert, and back in that day, I ate my share of desserts. And he says to me, oh, by the way, I have a check for you. And it's folded after he puts it down. I go to open it. He goes, don't open it yet. So why? He goes, don't open it. He goes, I was able to figure out what my office made from your sponsorship deal from people coming in. And remember, my deal was 2%. He hands me a check for $6,000. Now, I know it was a little light, because I know how many people I sent there. I know how many people continued to go there. And here it is, 20 years later, some of those people are still going there. That company has been a sponsor on my race cars, whether I drove them or owned them, since 1994. Which leads me to another thing. Do your sponsors come back? When you lose a sponsor, when a sponsor doesn't come back, what caused that? They didn't see a return on their investment? You didn't do what you promised as a race team? You didn't show up at the place? If the guy has a restaurant, if the guy has, I don't know, a miniature golf place, did you do things to let that sponsor know or to show that sponsor, hey, this is what we're doing, this is how many people we're bringing. This is the return on the investment, measurable. You know, we called it, at least I call it, SMART Objectives. It's an acronym, S-M-A-R-T. And when you go for a sponsorship program, you want it SMART. S means specific. M is measurable. A is action-orientated. R is real. T, time, real time. The SMART objectives. Set a goal. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do for your company. And you'll make it happen. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about some NASCAR news, some things that are going on, and talk about what's going on with the Whelen Modified Tours, Northern and Southern, when we come back.
world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Hey, this is Chris and Les Jake, and if InRavio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. InRavio.com wants you. InRavio provides the best in TV, film, post-production, and so much more. And we're growing. Right now, we're looking for a team of pros that can join us. So what are you waiting for? We need show hosts, production crew, marketing gurus, sales experts, audio engineers, lighting, visual effects, and camera crews. We want you. Go to InRavio.com/join the team.
Hey, we're back. You're back. Yeah, NASCAR. Let's see what's going on in NASCAR. Okay, Richard Childress has named Slugger Lab to a leading role in the R&D efforts at RCR, Richard Childress Racing. And Justin Alexander, currently a race engineer on the 2017, will take over as crew chief for driver Paul Menard. So we got some changes there going at RCR. Some changes that I'd like to see moving forward is not to miss the first 25, 26 laps of a race because of football. ABC dropped the ball Saturday night with Charlotte when college football interrupted the start of the race. Actually, the start of the race went on without TV viewership, and they moved the start of the race to a channel that most people don't even have. Now, I can't totally blame ABC for this. I mean, yeah, they're at fault, and this happens on Sunday nights with the shows, you know, that they're supposed to start at 9, start at 9:40, and, you know, so forth and so on, because football just seems to just be like the mafia of TV. They control it. But what NASCAR could have done is NASCAR could have said, because I'm sure the ABC affiliates and the people in the production truck for ABC said, we can't go live yet. We got football. an exciting game. It's 58-58. I don't know how that's an exciting game. 58-58, and this team's charging upfield. We got to stay. We got to miss. Somebody in their infinite wisdom should have said, okay, let's throw out the minute-by-minute list, and let's stall for the 4 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever it's going to take to end that football game and go live, so that the people watching the race on TV, who are sitting there watching the race, could see the start, and the people sponsoring the race on live TV get their money's worth as well. So let's not put the total blame on ABC. NASCAR could have started this race a little later. When I say a little later, we're talking minutes. We're talking minutes. And that's the other thing, too, that in WJ at myracenews.com, he points out a good fact. Some people work nights. Some people have family obligations. They can't watch the race. So they'd rather DVR the race on their local TV cable box thing and catch the race later. Well, what happens is they turned it on to go watch it, and they're watching football. And yeah, we all know that football, with between timeouts and interception, or not interception, but out of bounds, stop clockages, the last 4 minutes of a football game could take, 10, 15 minutes. But you know what? NASCAR needed to be a little flexible there. And I know the entry blank says at the time, the entry blank is Bible, but we got to start on this time. But I was a little annoyed over that. So, and not that anybody cares if Joe's annoyed, but I do. I was like, what is going on? I thought I had the wrong channel. I really did. Anyway, rule changes, Cup Series 2015. NASCAR announced more than 60 different updates to its 2015 National Series rule package last week. Included in those changes were a reduction in horsepower to 725 horsepower through the use of a tapered spacer, legalization of roller valve lifters, and lower rear differential ratios targeting 9,000 RPMs as opposed to the 9,500 RPMs they're going now. They're going to go from a flat tapper to a roller lifter, which is a step in the right direction for longevity, according to Doug Yates, CEO of Yates Engines there. And what's happening is they're trying to, maybe I shouldn't speculate, but this reduction in horsepower by another 125 horsepower and reducing the RPMs from 9,500 to 9,000 is going to cause a lot of work for these teams. I'm sure they're starting to build these motors now. Yates applauds NASCAR for not mandating a total engine redesign, because then everything they have becomes junk. All their blocks and their cranks and all of that nonsense becomes junk. But there's a lot going on with this. And the NASCAR engine package, however, for Daytona and Talladega will remain unchanged for 2015, while engine builders have 6 months before NASCAR's first non-super speed race at Atlanta on March 1st to get this in place. The touring series guys think they have problems with rules and rule changes and stuff, but these guys, this is their business. This is what they do. So NASCAR makes these changes, they got to do it. And speaking of rules, I'll tell you what. The note about Stafford. I didn't know about this. I kind of missed qualifying, but I was unaware that the qualifying time of Bobby Santos's pole position winning time and speed at the fall final took over 2 hours to certify. Turns out that the 44 team had an additional screen. Now, I was a tech inspector for NASCAR, and the rule says the nose can only have a screen that's 130 square inches, no matter how you want to make it. You want to make it, this high and this long, or this high and this. It's 130 square inches. Apparently, the 44 team had another screen in front of the radiator, which, according to the rule book, doesn't say you can't do that. It says one screen. Well, the one screen is on the nose piece. The screen they had was in front of the radiator to protect the radiator from debris and all that kind of nonsense. Crew Chief Stephen LeMay on the Sully Tinio owned number 44 team pleaded with NASCAR to allow the screen to protect the radiator, saying there's no advantage or disadvantage. NASCAR allowed the rule, or the screen, the qualifying run to stay, I should say, but made them take it off for the event. And the next day, a rules addendum came out identifying this. Now, I know how something like that comes out. See, you have a head tech guy. His job is to enforce rules, and his job is to find stuff. And I guess he saw the screen in front of the radiator, went to the rule book, didn't see where it says, you know, you can do that. See, that's not what we as officials, when I was official, you know, show me where it says you can do it, and a competitor's going to say, show me where it says I can't do it. And that's where you get into the thing. Now, because this team did their homework, and they beat the system legitimately, they didn't cheat. There was nothing addressing that. Didn't say, well, you know, I'm looking at the rule book. I could do that, because it doesn't say I can't. And they did it. So now a new rule came out to address that. So, anyway. Speaking of rules, and this is just a rumor. Don't say, you know, Joe said, because this is just a rumor. I'm hearing stories. I'm talking to reporters, talking to racetrack people. Rumor has it, the American Racer to replace the Hoosier tire in 2015 on the Whelen Modified Tour. Series director Jimmy Wilson has confirmed to at least one reporter that the contract with Hoosier is up and we are in due diligence. I don't know what he means by that. I know what he means by that, but I don't know if he knows what he means by that. Of course, we're in due diligence. The contract's up. It should have been already resolved, but one race to go, and, you know, 6 months from now will be opening day. Actually, Daytona. I'm thinking this needed to be resolved. But Jimmy Wilson saying no decision has been made on tires, according to Wilson. Secret tests with the American Racer have taken place, or, depending on what source you listen to, or going to take place at the Thompson Motorsports Park shortly. Whelen Modified car owner Ed Partridge, who also owns the tire concession on Long Island, had an American Racer sticker on his number 6 Whelen Modified Tour car at Stafford. What does that tell you? Is he switching sides too? Does that mean the American Racer is coming to Long Island? Just throwing it out. Just a question. I'm not saying it is. Don't be calling up the PR people. You know, like Joe said. So I'm just telling there was a sticker on his car. The Hoosier distributor for Long Island had an American Racer decal on his modified. Just saying. All right. Talking to some of the teams, crew chiefs, drivers, owners, have said that the American Racer is more consistent than the Hoosier tire. Should be interesting. Should be interesting going forward. And I know Tom Rogers Jr., NASCAR Weekly All-American Series modified driver and part-time tour driver, had mentioned in one of his interviews how the tires are just no good. No good. And here's a guy that won a boatload of races in 2014, runner-up in the points at his local racetrack. The guy knows tires, and he said the tires are no good. And he pointed out something to me. I went down to his car one night after the races, and he had, you know, he said, come over here, touch this. And I touched it. He goes, what does that feel like? I said, it feels like chalk. And that was a tire that they just already raced. It just didn't feel right. So I don't know. I think what happens, one of the biggest mistakes some of the racetracks made and some of the touring series made is going to a single tire manufacturer. There should be a choice, because when you have a choice, it keeps everybody honest, keeps everybody on their toes. All right, so I think this is a good thing. I'd like to see what the American Racer can do. Anyway, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have some of the stuff that went on at Charlotte when we come back.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit HansonCarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Hey, this is Chris and Les Jake, and if InRavio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
InRavio.com wants you. InRavio provides the best in TV, film, post-production, and so much more. And we're growing. Right now, we're looking for a team of pros that can join us. So what are you waiting for? We need show hosts, production crew, marketing gurus, sales experts, audio engineers, lighting, visual effects, and camera crews. We want you. Go to InRavio.com/join the team.
Back. Hey, real quick, I know a lot of stuff went on with Tony Stewart and the grand jury, and they decided not to prosecute, which is a good thing. I think it would open up a can of worms with that, but and part of that had to do with, according to the people involved, the medical examiners and whatnot, and that Kevin Ward's impairment and his actions on the racetrack were due in part to marijuana being found in his system. And I have to tell you, I really think that the drug testing in auto racing at all levels should be mandatory. It should be a spot thing. Guy walks into the racetrack, oh, here you go, let's make it happen. And it should happen. I think a lot of things that go on racetracks sometimes have to do with some of these guys that or might be on substances that just impair their judgment. You know, years ago, you go back to the 50s and the 60s and the moonshine days and the beer drinking guys, and it wasn't right, but it was going on. But anybody close to me knows how I feel about this stuff, and it shouldn't be just the drivers and the crew guys that should be drug tested. Some of the officials need to go, go take a cup and go into the men's room or the ladies' room, because I wonder sometimes what goes on. And I'll tell you what, I know for a fact that there are some officials and some quasi-officials and wannabe officials who partake in the use of illicit drugs and illegal drugs. And some of them, that's their business at the racetracks, the local racetracks is dealing and whatnot at the racetrack. And look, you do whatever you want to do. There are people that don't like some of the things that I do, and I respect that. And I don't like some of the things that some people do. But when lives are at stake on a racetrack, and where you have to be on your game, you shouldn't be playing with that stuff. Enough said on that. Anyway, Charlotte. Yeah, there was a bunch of stuff went on after the races at Charlotte, but before we, I'm going to tease you with that real quick. The Whelen Southern Modified Tour was at Charlotte as well, and Burt Myers was the winner with Long Island's J.R. Bertuccio finished in second, Georgie Brunhustle was third, Kyle Ebersol fourth, Andy Seiss was fifth, Zach Brewer was sixth, Cole Powell seventh, Mike Norman eighth, Denny Bond was ninth, Luke Fleming finished 10th. The final points for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Southern Tour was Andy Seiss was the champion with Georgie Brunhustle the third, second, Burt Myers third, J.R. Bertuccio fourth, Andy Bond fifth, Kyle Ebersol sixth, Luke Fleming seventh, Gary Putnam eighth, Spencer Davis ninth. He also garnered the Rookie of the Year honors, although it is totally unofficial at this point. It has been announced officially. Jason Myers 10th. The Whelen Modified Tour will be at Thompson for the annual World Series, Thompson Motorsports Park, this upcoming weekend. The last I saw, there's 36 entries, one of the largest fields that the series has had up here in Connecticut in quite some time. And also, Ron Silk driving the number 6 Eddie Partridge owned team. Ron Silk and Eddie Partridge will part ways after the Thompson event. I believe Ron Silk drove for Ed Partridge for 6 years and had a championship in there. A lot of names are bouncing around to who's going to get that ride. But remember, the team is housed in Connecticut, but the Grasso brothers turning the wrenches on that car, and I'm going to think it's not a Long Islander. So anyway, that's where that's at. Charlotte, let me give you the results first. The Camping World Truck Series were off. They will be their next race in Talladega in a week and a half. But the nationwide, Brad Keselowski was first, Kyle Busch second, Matt Kenseth was third, Ryan Blaney fourth, Chris Buescher was sixth, Trevor Baynes seventh, Chase Elliott eighth, Elliott Sadler ninth, Brian Scott 10th. Right now the points are looking at Chase Elliott is with a 42-point lead over Regan Smith. Brian Scott 61 points back with Elliott Sadler 63 back, Ty Dillon 64 back. Then we have Trevor Bayne in sixth, Chris Buescher in seventh, Brendan Gaughan in eighth, Ryan Reed in ninth, and James Buescher rounding out the top 10. Cup Series, Kevin Harvick was the winner with Jeff Gordon second, Jamie McMurray third, Joey Logano fourth, Kyle Busch from the pole finishing fifth, Kyle Larson sixth, Ryan Newman was seventh, Carl Edwards eighth, Denny Hamlin ninth, Casey Kane rounded out the top 10 there. Unofficially, the points look like this. Going into the next round, or the first round of that next round, the Challenger Series. Joey Logano is the point leader over Kyle Busch by 6 points, with Kevin Harvick 7 points back. Ryan Newman 11 back in fourth. Carl Edwards 12 back in fifth. Jeff Gordon 14 back in sixth, and followed by Denny Hamlin, who's 15 back. Casey Kane, who's 31 back. Matt Kenseth 32 back. Brad Keselowski 50 back, Jimmy Johnson 57 back, and 11th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. 57 back. That may change tomorrow. I think, in my opinion, and everybody knows what opinions are, I think there's going to be some penalties handed out to Brad Keselowski and Matt Kenseth for what they did. And also, let's go into this. Keselowski on the cool-down lap gets into Hamlin, tries to hit him on the racetrack, and then hit him again pulling on pit road. He misses him and hits Tony Stewart. So what does Tony Stewart do? And he knows he's under a microscope. He shouldn't have did this. He puts it in reverse, and he blasts Keselowski. Keselowski then does burnouts in the garage, and I'm not talking about the pit area garage. I'm talking about the inner building with the race car. It could have injured somebody. And then the fights. Then it just, Hamlin had to be restrained by a bunch of people. He was trying to get a piece of Keselowski. And Keselowski and Kenseth go at it. The crews are going at it. And, you know, as WJ says, none of these guys are going to be laughing tomorrow as the fines and the point penalties are going to be handed out. This may have cost Brad Keselowski any shot of getting into the next round where it's cut down to 8 people. Because they really need to hit him hard for, first of all, intentionally hitting another race car on a racetrack, trying to hit another race car on pit road where he blasted to Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart's going to get a little slap on the hand, I feel, in my opinion, for backing into him. 2 wrongs don't make a right here. And then, of course, Matt Kenseth being involved in an altercation in the pit area. I think crew chiefs are going to be fined. I think points, driver and owner points are going to be deducted. But what these guys did, I don't know what, you know, it just seems like as we go into these this new format has got the tempers a little bit higher. I mean, these guys were battling in between the haulers, thinking nobody's going to see that. I saw a NASCAR official get hit, and you all know what that happens. You all know what happens when you hit a NASCAR official. It's just not good. It's just not good, and it was, you know, I don't know. Maybe the casual fan is going to want to watch the next race because, hey, whoa, hey, I love these fights. This is. The races on Saturday night, why they acted like Saturday night races is beyond me. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe what I saw. And again, you know, Denny Hamlin, irate over what went on with Keselowski. Now, Keselowski, you know, he didn't have a good run. And I guess, you know, he was a little upset about that. But it wasn't anybody's fault. It's just good, hard racing. You know, good, hard racing. You know, penalties are coming. I'm telling you, it's going to change this whole top 12 right now. It's going to change this whole top 12, and it's going to move some people up. It's going to move at least 2 people down. And I'm thinking that'll be Kenseth and Keselowski. And I just hope, and I'll tell you what, a message needs to be sent. I think they should be both, well, Keselowski more than Kenseth, find enough points that they're not in the next round. They're just not going to get into the next round. And speaking of the next round, as Jimmy Johnson's like 11th, 50-some-odd points behind, NASCAR going to make another like little rules change to get this Hendrick car in like they did with Jeff Gordon last year? I'm just throwing that out. You know, it's a possibility. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, usually all penalties are announced on Tuesdays with NASCAR. That's because then they UPS it and send it out to you. I remember I get mine. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this thing up. I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their busy schedule to spend the hour with me here and talk racing. I love doing this. It's all good. It's all fun. And this weekend, wherever your endeavors are going to take you, be safe. Have a good time. Most of you I will see at Thompson this weekend. Some of you are going to other venues, but you know, be safe, have a good time. Make sure you tell somebody you love them. God bless you all, and have a wonderful night. Good night, folks.
Thank you.